See, see, in my case, I mean, I've been spending a number of weeks here, very, very slowly, bit by bit, laying out some of the axiomatics of my psyche in public, in full transparency for all to see, for a number of reasons. But the primary reason is in the interest of truth and science, in the classical sense. Plain vanilla, experimental, scientific truth. Imagine the shock in whatever, fin de siècle Vienna, when Freud starts publishing papers about penises and vaginas. This is a Victorian culture, Victorian society, Vienna, early 20th century. I'm really interested to know how much ego strength Freud had. Obviously, he had a very robust, well-integrated ego in order to do such outrageous things in a Victorian society. I mean, some of the things that I've mostly said, I guess, even probably some of the things that I do on camera probably seem outrageous, at least in a couple of people's eyes, I don't know. But there's outrageous, and then there's outrageous. I mean, you're a thought leader of the society in Vienna, and there's your new paper, and it says penis, vagina, penis, vagina. Roughly. There's some euphemizing, I guess, but I just use the Occam version of Freud. Keep the descriptive metaphysics. Get rid of the hocus pocus. Freud is great to the degree you allow it to be transparent. The moment you say, oh yeah, but that's the unconscious, it's all over. You'll never get anywhere. So, somebody like me who's been working on, in a very real sense, nothing but the problem of consciousness, not from an abstract point of view as an academic day laborer, but from a living first-person standpoint as a matter of life and death. Because that's the way that I've always lived. That's the way I've had to live, for whatever reasons. As the Zen practitioners say, or somewhere in Zen and the Art of Archery, the line is it's Eugen Herrigel. As us archers like to say, one breath, one life. One arrow, one breath, one life. It's something like that. All or nothing. That's why quantificational logic, non-dyadic logic, is so very valuable. And probabilistic, epistemological, Bayesian statistical analysis, say. Brandon Fiddleson, Tina Eliassi Rod. Probability. We don't need true and or false and or excluded middle and or contradiction. What we need is some good compromises, 80-20 or however that way of thinking goes. What are the compromises? What are we asserting? How big of an ontological claim is it? The bigger the ontological claim, the more transparently you have to show what the offset, like what it cost you, for example. to theorize in such a big way. Like, in order for Hegel to posit at the very end of the Logic, what was it, the absolute idea? Okay, in order to get to the point that he's publishing for the world, the final section in a book called His Own Logic, the absolute idea, well, what's this costing him? Because if it's the absolute idea, then that literally is all the physics in existence. So how does Hegel, thermodynamically, physically, have the right to reckon this way, as though he has, as Professor Unger might say, all the power in the world, right? Does a philosopher have all the physical power in the world, literally? All the thermodynamic power? Because if you're wagering, if you're reckoning, if you're reasoning about all of existence, then that must mean that the kind of trials, spiritual trial and sacrifice that you've had to make personally is roughly on a par with the magnitude of all the energy that exists physically. Newtonian sense, physics, natural world sense.